Guys, I'm out on the side-by-side today up in the South Hills of Idaho, southern Idaho, kind of overlooking Twin Falls way over there. Anyway, why am I up here for a ham radio show? Because today we're talking about a brand new thing on the market, half radio, half GPS. This is called the Garmin Tread. We'll talk about it this time on K6UDA Radio. Yeah, I know, it's not ham radio. No, today I am talking about something a little bit different. Not every day am I hanging out with other hams, and not every day am I riding with other hams. Yes, you know what? I keep a ham radio in the Jeep, and generally I'll keep a handheld ham radio in this one with me. But I'll tell you what, the group of people that I go side-by-side riding with, for the most part, nobody's a ham. But everybody needs communications, number one. And number two, I need mapping in here. So when I saw this product, the Garmin Tread, it's brand spanking new on the market. It is an off-road GPS. I thought, wow, that looks interesting. And the fact that it came with a two-way radio was even more interesting to me, and I thought it would probably be interesting to you. So today, we're gonna talk about the Garmin Tread. I'm gonna go through this radio, and I'm gonna give you guys as good of a review as I possibly can. But before we get going, if you're brand new here, please hit that subscribe button right now and hit the like button. This tells YouTube and it tells the algorithm that people like this content. It tells me you guys like this content and you want more of it. Let's go back into the shop, guys, and I'm gonna show you the Tread. So actually the Garmin Tread is a Garmin GPS built for the off-road world that comes with a built-in MURS radio. In the package you'll get 4 splashy colored faceplates to match your machine or your personal taste. It also comes with a roll bar mount, which I didn't use, and we'll get to that in a minute. The package also includes a ruggedized mount with a microphone. This is the radio portion of the unit. You may have noticed the SMA antenna connection draped across my dash. Well, that, my friends, is the remote mounted radio antenna. It's actually a very sturdy piece of antenna wire, and because of its small size, it's very easily routable along all the nooks and crannies of my car. I ran this up along the A-pillar and into the roll bar, terminating it at the back of the cab. From there, it was just a quick route around, and I used the supplied roll bar mount to put the remote mounted antenna right behind the roof. I originally was planning on doing something like the Polaris Ride Command, where the GPS was actually mounted in the center of the dash, and that's where I wanted my GPS. Now obviously with my windshield, my sound bar, the rear view mirrors, I have a lot of things going on up around the windshield area, and I didn't want any more distractions up there. I wanted to be able to look down, and I wanted my passenger to be able to navigate with me. Where I chose to mount my unit was in the center of the dash. Using this kind of disposable area, I reinforced it with some all-thread, a couple of nuts on there, gave it a very rigid support, and the only extra part I needed was a screw-on ram ball adapter to get the whole thing mounted. The result is a super clean look inside the car. It's very well protected from the elements. It just seems like a natural fit where it's at now. Very easy for both the driver and the passenger to do any mapping controls and use the radio. The GPS unit itself is built like a brick shithouse, a weatherized brick shithouse. It has covered room for an SD card. It also sports that standard Garmin mini USB, and that is pretty fully protected. There's a small weatherized speaker on board, as well as a sealed power button. That is it for the controls on the back. When you power up the unit, this is the main menu that you get. Now the first thing most of us are going to do when we get a new GPS is we're going to fire up the map. And here's the map for my area. Now I've downloaded the bird's eye view, so that's why it kind of looks like the Google Maps. And it does have property owners for every piece of property in your area. As you move away from areas that you've already downloaded in the bird's eye view, you'll get the standard Garmin map. All right, let's go through some of the other functions. First up is the Explore function. Now, I haven't really used this, so you can explore routes, activities, collections. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and I don't really have much in there except some routes. The search function looks like every other Garmin mapping solution that you'll find on the market. Honestly, I would have expected this to have more trails and parks and stuff like that. Next up is the pitch and roll function. This is a nicety. It's kind of fun to have. I don't really know how important it is in a side-by-side. We then get to the altimeter, barometer, and compass section, and this has frankly a lot of good information. It'll come in handy, I think, in the winter time. All of the controls for the MURS radio are contained within the GPS itself. Presets, channels, and tones are all up on that first row. You can also connect up either the fist mic, or you can use a Bluetooth mic like a Sena inside your helmet. Touch the monkey wrench and you can put up Roger tone, or you can set up your push to talk with a headset.
So one of the things that concerned me was the radio. And is it going to be loud enough out on the trail? And I think this radio is definitely going to be loud enough out on the trail. When you're receiving, you get this cool little green bar around the edge. And when you're transmitting, you get a blue one.
The next main feature is tracking. This, by far, I think is the most beneficial feature in the Garmin Tread. Other features of the Tread include things like an online owner's manual, the ability to hook up your Garmin InReach. You can download the bird's eye maps on the fly. Very, very cool. A trip planner that has a lot of very cool features, although I haven't used it in the real world. It looks interesting. Within that secondary menu, there's a lot of other features. They've got the Bluetooth music player, smart notifications, fuel settings, which could be interesting, but it's a little bit weird to use. It's not very intuitive. The round trip feature, track back, which is extremely useful when you don't know really where you're at. It does exactly that. It takes you right back the way you came. You can use your phone over it. It has traffic and weather embedded, live traffic and weather radar, helmet guides. You can hook up wireless cameras to it, wireless Garmin cameras. Now I could see the use of a backup camera or these wireless cameras in like rock crawling situations where you would normally need a spotter. Now, all in all, I believe the Garmin Tread has a lot of potential, but it does look like they've done a big rehash of the Overlander and just added a radio right now. So the other main feature on the Garmin Tread is this group ride, and this is group ride. Because I don't know anybody else that owns one of these, I can't test out group ride. What it's supposed to do is keep track of on the map and on a little sidebar all your friends that you're riding with. It'll tell you basically what radio channel you've assigned them, what priority you've assigned them, and their location, both in how far away they might be, if they might be a half mile or a mile away. You can, I believe, send them some kind of messages, and you could call them on the radio just by pressing the friend you want to talk to, or you could talk to everybody. I haven't been able to try it out, and unless one of my buddies that I ride with gets one of these things, that's going to be a mystery to me. Here's something else that's pretty cool. You can move your tread from portrait to landscape mode just by flipping it. That's pretty cool. Garmin includes a ton of mapping features, all of the mapping features that you would expect from a Garmin GPS. What they don't include are a lot of the off-road trails, a lot of the 50-inch trails and side-by-side trails that I would expect a device that is really, really geared toward an open-air vehicle. The for instance I have is we were looking for a very specific trail that we were going to go to. I couldn't find it on the Garmin when I got there. And by comparison, my Onyx Off-Road on my iPhone knew exactly where it was. I was able to find this trail just by using Onyx Off-Road. The problem with using Onyx Off-Road on the trails is now I am exposing my iPhone to the elements, which I really don't care to do. And that's actually a big reason that I bought the Garmin Tread to begin with, is I wanted that ruggedized GPS that could take the mud splashes, could take the dust, the dirt, whatever nature throws at it, whatever I could throw at it. And I'll tell you what, riding around in these things every so often, it ain't no walk in the park. Everything rattles on these. Speaking of all the Garmin routing features that Garmin puts into this, along with all the other GPS units that they do, it would be really, really nice to be able to take this thing out of here and plug it in my truck when I'm either towing or going somewhere else. The problem is this mount. This mount here is hardwired in, number one, and number two, I assume extremely expensive to buy another one. Is this thing a good value? That depends. I would say as far as a GPS, a straight off-road GPS, it's priced on the high side. This thing comes in at $800. Now the Garmin Overlander, I believe, is about $600 online. I think Onyx Off-Road was like 50 or 60 bucks for a year, and it just installs on your phone. It's only available for the iPhone and the Android market. I originally was looking at doing a Polaris Ride Command. Polaris Ride Command, for me to install that in this car would have cost me about 1,800 bucks. So the $800 that I spent on this was a bargain. Honestly, this unit would probably get an A with me if the mapping was at least as good or complete as Onyx Off-Road, but it isn't. The good news is that is easily changed by Garmin, and unlike in the general ham radio community where they're not selling millions of units and they can't spend that kind of money doing R&D for each one of their units, this one they absolutely can. And believe me, Onyx didn't go out and create those maps themselves. Those maps exist. They're all BLM maps. They're all county maps for all kinds of stuff. Hell, if size is an issue, Garmin, do it by state or region or something like that, and let us decide what we want to download, what's important to us on our rides. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please, again, give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Garmin Tread. or anything else that you might be using for your side-by-side, your Jeep, your ATV, whatever. And if you're a ham radio user, let me know what you think of a MURS radio system in addition to ham radio out on the trail or in the wilderness, because that is where this is going to shine. Guys, that's all I've got this time. I'm Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here, 7-3.